All right, so let's just jump right into it. I mean, shout out to the Ravens fan that I was. Shout out to Chris. You know, he brought it up. He threw something in the chat, and I didn't think it would spark such a debate. It also sparked so much of a debate that these two guys, and I just peeped that we all are color coordinated. This was not
I
planned.
know, right?
I wear black under my work shirts.
But shout out to these two guys because they actually came to an agreement, I would say. But it's more so about Drew Brees. I think you said early in the show, Joe, that he's being inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
that all time. I don't know what they was waiting for,
I
but
know, right? Look at all these late Jones.
they waiting for Zion to win a playoff series. But is Drew Brees a top 5 quarterback of all time? So this one shook the table a little bit. I don't know where these guys gonna go with it, or they gonna conclude it here. But Carl, do you think that Drew Brees is a top 5 quarterback of all time? Note, Troy Aikman's listening.
Troy Aikman can scram. But anyway, so this I thought we were gonna talk about Ring of Honor, but I'm gonna say no. And the reason why I'm gonna say no is because 4 off top, like Joe said in the chat, Manning, Brady, Mahomes, Montana. Why did I blank on that? They go 4 right there.
Brady first, that's why. The Brady threw the ball.
Probably. Some will argue Rodgers. I'm not mad if you do. Some would argue Brett Favre. I'm not doing it, but some would. Some will argue Steve Young. I think I would put Brees over Steve Young. And the reason why I would do some of those is because Steve Young came right after Joe Montana. He got the 1 ring. Cool. But, excuse me, Elway. Forgot about Elway. Boom. So I'm going to lean no. But I do think Drew Brees, despite having 1 ring and no MVPs, does have a case because he has the only era in New Orleans with a ring, not even with a ring, just the only era I can think of the Saints. He might have single-handedly erased the Ricky Williams situation and the New Orleans Aints by himself. They were coming off of a 3-13 year before they got Drew Brees, went 10-6 literally the next season, which was good enough for a second. NFC was weak. Ravens were second at 13-3 that year. But yeah, 10-6, good enough for second, and made the NFC Championship game, but they lost, I believe it was Chicago that year. He got the ring in, I want to say 08 or 09. Funny enough, I was talking about the 2011 MVP thing in the chat. He didn't win MVP over Aaron Rodgers, but he won Offensive Player of the Year, which makes no sense to me. Yeah. How is one quarterback MVP and one quarterback Offensive Player of the Year? It makes no sense. Just make one of them both. But he's led the league countless times in passing yards, passing touchdowns, passer rating, completion percentage. His teams has been leading the league in scoring and yards. He did get screwed twice in the playoffs with the Minnesota Miracle and that terrible non-pass interference call that could have maybe got him another ring, maybe one of those 2 years. But he has, in my opinion, a case, even though he has 1 ring and no MVPs. He's had years where he's led the league in both passing yards and passing touchdowns and did not win MVP. So I don't think he's top 5, but I think he got a case over some guys you might not think he has a case over.
Joe?
Yeah, Drew Brees, great quarterback. I think that he's definitely top 5 in his time. In his time, you got Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and then probably him. In my opinion, I think he's 4th in his time. All right. What?
All right, go ahead. I don't even want you to get sidetracked. Go ahead.
I don't want to fumble this topic for the game, But so I think he'll be 4th in his era. But top 5 all time is kind of a reach. I don't think he has a case. He's a great player. Like I don't want to bash Drew Brees. I think he's one of the greatest players that ever played. He's probably the most consistent outside of Tom Brady, consistent player in his era. Like he every year he was good once he got to the New Orleans Saints. Now he did have a couple of rib injuries in the back end of his career, and his playoff performance was not good. He the reason why they lost to Tom Brady through all those interceptions. But he has been great. Now you right, Tomo. But you forgot to get about the game, Carl?
No, you didn't hear that.
What do you say?
He said
on
Romo.
interceptions in the playoff game. Go ahead, continue.
Don't compare Drew Brees and
Thank
Romo.
you.
Man.
That's why I made that face.
Please, bro. So Drew Brees, like Carl said, Drew Brees he hasn't won the MVP, but he has been second 3 times. Right, 3 times he has been second for the MVP voting, and he just got out there by a better player that year. But he's always been up there. Like every single year, he's been a top 10 quarterback. Now, yes, he gave New Orleans their first Super Bowl. I felt like that was like a magical season. They Hurricane Katrina happened, and then New Orleans went crazy that year. Then you want to talk about you want to kill Brett Favre, and you want to say they got cheated. What about the bounty rule on Brett Favre against the Vikings? Right? That was a bro. That was illegally crushing this dude. That should have been. It was so many flags that could have been thrown that game, but never was thrown for some reason. I don't know what happened. And I at that time I really thought that it was set up for the Saints to win the Super Bowl that year because of Hurricane Katrina. But I'm not the type of person that's going to take nothing away from you if you win. I'm going to give you your win. Just don't overhype your win. Like saying like, oh, he gave him the only win. It's like, bro, it was a hurricane that year. And they had the old bounty rule.
Hurricane was 05. He won later. He didn't win 05.
He won 06, right?
No.
He beat Brady Manning. He won the following season.
06 was Manning and the Bears.
You sure? Hold on.
Breeze won like I think like 09 or something like that.
He did win it 09. Hurricane Katrina was not 05. It was not 05, bro. It was not 05. It was?
Yes. It was like 05.
Okay. Cause I feel like he won right after Hurricane Katrina. I'm tripping. But and he won in 09? Yeah, he did win. He did win in 09. I feel like it happened right there. But that bounty rule was wild because the Vikings should have been in that Super Bowl, even though Brett Favre did an interception in the game. But the man was getting killed the whole game. God dang. But my top 5 is Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, and number 5 you could throw around. You could throw John Elway in there. You could throw Aaron Rodgers in there. I think Kurt Warner got a case to be up there. And now that's top 5. But
okay.
Kurt Warner has a really good career.
No.
Kurt Warner's career is awkward because of injuries and stuff like that. That's why Kurt Warner's career is weird. And he was a late draft pick. So, like, Drew Brees got to a location and he stayed there. Like, Kurt Warner went to the Rams and then he had an injury. Then he went to the Giants, was a backup. And then once he started, he was good again. And then he wins another Super Bowl. So, and those teams weren't great, huh?
Cardinals won?
Super Bowl with the Cardinals.
Oh, you said went. Oh, I thought you said won.
So Drew Brees, I don't think he has a case to be top 5, but he is definitely top 5 in his era.
Not you, Joe. That's why. Come on, bro.
First of all, his only playoff wins came when he was 2 Super Bowl wins.
Super Bowl.
No, bro. Yeah, but he never. He to my Brett Favre. This man right here, Eli Manning, was leading the league in the search like crazy almost every year.
Josh Allen. But
Josh Allen also had touchdowns though. Josh Allen is like Brett Favre though. When you look at them.
Yeah, I mean, Kev says I never disagree.
He could throw a touchdown.
But Brett Favre the same way.
And Brett Favre, you're right. At the end of the day, we all agree he's not top 5 all time. Now to the Saints, he may be top 5 all time. I mean, to New Orleans, he may be top 5 all time because, like y'all said, what he's done for the city. But you can't have one Super Bowl ring and say he's top 5. Like, no MVPs. No MVPs. I threw Troy Aikman's name out there in the top 5 with Joe because he got 3 rings, and Joe was going back about Aaron Rodgers and the 3-4 MVPs that he got with 1 ring. Now, at least if Brees would have got at least maybe 1, 2, he could have got that. Because, I'm sorry. Drew Brees, great career, not top 5 all time. I can't say no more than what y'all have already said. He's done a lot for the city, but not enough to be top 5.
Would y'all put him on Big Man?
Yeah.
Who, Brees?
Yeah.
I would. I'll put him on Big Man.
When we saying this, are we talking about his career or we just talking about the player?
No, when you rank them all the time, I would rank Drew Brees higher.
Why is that?
I mean, first of all, Ben Roethlisberger's first ring I mean, the man was on a tow. He had the team was the tow truck, and he was the one getting towed. That's what happened in the first Super Bowl. And the second, he got carried that Super Bowl. But the second one, he earned it. But Drew Brees has been way more consistent than him. Once the Pittsburgh Steelers were relying more on their offense, they never won. Never won again. They only won when their defense was ahead of the team. Once all those players rolled out, and then Ben Roethlisberger with AB, Le'Veon Bell, all those guys, they never went far. They never won. But Drew Brees, on the other hand, I mean, they was right there almost every time. And crazy stuff just kept happening to him. I ain't gonna lie.
Here's my thing, though, right? By the way, Hurricane Katrina, I looked it up, was August 23rd, 05 to August 31st, 05.
Okay.
No, I said earlier. I was like, it was 05.
Oh, my bad.
I agree with you.
All right, cool.
Well, I stamped it.
Joe brought up Kurt Warner. Cool. I like Kurt Warner. I think Kurt Warner was even undrafted. He went AFL, all that. But Kurt Warner had the greatest show on turf, and he had Larry Fitzgerald. Drew Brees had none of that. Drew Brees had Marcus Colston, which nobody would have ever said he was a top 5 receiver in that era. I think somebody tried to say that in the chat, which no. He had Jimmy Graham, which when Jimmy Graham left, his career plummeted. So was it Jimmy Graham? Was it Drew Brees? Michael Thomas had the one offensive player of the year. Kind of regressed. I mean, injuries kind of did that.
What about Reggie Bush? Yeah, Reggie Bush that year.
But bro, Sean Payton was really good offensive coordinator though.
Yeah,
really good play caller.
That's true, but Drew Brees is also a really accurate quarterback and a really talented quarterback.
What was Kurt Warner though?
No, that's no. I'm not saying he's not, but what I'm saying is he had Torrey Hall, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk.
And when he had that, they went to back-to-back Super Bowls. When he had his squad, they went to Super Bowl twice.
Drew Brees had none of that.
That's what he's saying.
Super Bowl and won it.
I think that.
What? No. Who did the Vikings lose to in that game with Brett Favre threw that pick? I can't remember.
My man Jacob said he had a crazy running game though.
That's why I threw out.
It wasn't a running back, but come on now, like Sean Payton, man.
No, I get that.
Yeah, we underestimate that right there.
But they're not the greatest show on turf.
They better than the Cardinals. You bring up Larry Fitzgerald, okay?
Larry Fitzgerald.
They had Carl Bowden too. But what were they? Okay, what were the Cardinals before Kurt Warner got there?
No, I get that. Kurt Warner did help elevate the Cardinals, but so
now Carson Palmer was a pretty good quarterback. They got to the playoffs and that stuff. We get you on that, but Kurt Warner, that offense went to a different level, especially in the playoffs. Yeah, I remember that Packers game like in the back of my mind. Packers could not stop these dudes.
It was like 45-6 or something like that.
And Aaron Rodgers going crazy too. By the way, that's my man. That was my man, Aaron Rodgers. He's tripping now.
But I feel you on that. I really do. But what I was about to say, Carson made it to the NFC Championship. This is lost to Cam and the Panthers. Kurt, I feel you. They honestly should have won that game. Our defense gave up a game-winning drive at the end, and some people still question whether Santonio Holmes had both feet in or if it was the cleats or something like that. But I felt like the Cardinals should have won that game. But Kurt Warner also did throw that 98-yard pick six to James Harrison to end the half.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Javon was probably partying, throwing popcorn, yelling, screaming, all that stuff. So.
Yeah. So that's the one time I rooted for Aaron Rodgers when they played the Steelers. It's the one time.
And when the Cardinals played the Steelers, they almost won, but that game, Steelers was taking control of that game out of nowhere. Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald went crazy. Like late in the fourth quarter.
It was a slant. He put that slant. It was gone.
Yeah, he got that slant. I was like, oh snap. But Kurt Warner is nice, bro. It's just that he has a Kawhi-like career. Like Kawhi career with injuries and all this crazy stuff happening. He don't have a consistent body of work. Kurt Warner the same way. Like Kurt Warner, he was undrafted, then he came in and started and started cooking. So when he started starting, won MVP, back-to-back Super Bowl, then got hurt again, then he got shipped to the Giants, didn't even start. Then once he got his opportunity again, he started cooking again, and then he got hurt again. It's like it's not
like Kerry Collins. That was crazy.
So I'm not saying his career is like Kawhi, but like how Kawhi career is like you look at Kawhi like, oh, Kawhi one of the best players ever. But when you actually look at his career numbers, Thaddeus Young got better career numbers than Kawhi Leonard.
That's crazy. He don't play basketball.
And then we could say like Phillip Rivers, you put him next to Kurt Warner, you like Phillip Rivers, because of the numbers. But then when you watch what Kurt Warner did, you like Kurt Warner, what's wrong with you? Phillip Rivers over Kurt Warner? Come on.
Tony
And
Romo.
I ain't gonna lie, Phillip Rivers is tough. It's just his playoff performances just leaves a lot to be desired. So
Sound like a lot of people I know.
I know. Sound like a lot of quarterbacks that I root for. But well, y'all let us know down in the comments how y'all feel about this one. I think a lot of people won't agree with that one just about all time. I don't know.
Yeah,
Would y'all say you top 10?
if I think for sure he's top 10, top 5. Yeah.
on the top of my head, I would say yes. But obviously, the confirm.
Oh, this is the one point I wanted to bring up. Because Tomo said it's hard to say he's top 5 with no MVPs in the ring. I would argue that a lot of people thought Dan Marino at one point was one of the best with no Super Bowls and 1 MVP. Well, I think 2 maybe.
But that had a lot to do with his individual talent too. Dan Marino is a better. I get you, but Dan Marino is literally like if we talk about who's the best quarterback in NFL history, just talent. Dan Marino is in that conversation. Drew Brees is not. He's not in that conversation because Dan Marino was wildly talented, just raw talent. So Drew Brees not in that conversation.
I don't understand how
Right,
he's like one of the most accurate quarterbacks ever. He's also beating the standard of being short and being accurate, and he's also very talented.
Let me ask you this: would you compare Rodgers and Rodgers and Drew Brees, who got the most talent, or in your head you like, oh yes, Aaron Rodgers?
Nah, because the style of play is different. Aaron Rodgers is the one scrambling, buying time, and making throws on a run. Rodgers is more so in the pocket.
Just ask a question. If I say who's more talented, is it Aaron?
Because the style of play.
Okay, if I say who's more talented, Aaron Rodgers or Dan Marino, some people might just say Dan Marino, but nobody's going to say Drew Brees over Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying. Like Drew Brees is not. I'm not saying he's not talented. He's just not raw enough like Dan Marino. Dan Marino, his talent alone gets him in the top 5 conversation. He was so talented, bro. He took that Dolphins team to the Super Bowl.
No, I get that. He lost.
Like, I know that. I know that.
Calm down.
That's like if you ain't had an MVP since '94, you would talk a lot of trash about a team that won the Super Bowl after y'all. I'm just saying.
Man, whenever you get an opportunity to talk about your team, you gotta take advantage of it.
Yeah, man. Like when you spoke up New Orleans, I thought about the lights getting turned off.
That's why I gotta put Elway up there because we dog Elway. We put Elway to the ground too.
Well, then you should like Aikman too, because y'all took him out.
I mean, but yeah, that's true. But I don't really mess with Aikman. He actually won 3.
I'm gonna say this on air, Carl. You know I agree with you about Troy Aikman, but
all right, cool. I never understand. I don't think I've ever like really knew your stance on that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on about Troy, because at the end of the day, I agree that Troy was one of the pillars for that team. But if it wasn't for Emmett and everything else around him, I don't think Troy gets 3 Super Bowls.
Of course.
All right, but for the sake of that top 5 conversation, you throw Aaron Rodgers up there, and we talking Super Bowls. I just had to throw somebody out there.
I got you. Now, the reason why I joke, I see your face, is because like a lot of people when they try to say, "Oh, should the quarterback be in the Hall of Fame?" They be like, "Troy Aikman." I'm like, bro, that's not the guy we should throw out there to say.
Oh, I get you saying. he ain't the standard. Like, come on now. I think that's what he's saying. But he is a Hall of Famer, though.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
I'm
turning to Michael Irvin on here.
If Terry Bradshaw is a Hall of Famer, he better be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, you could do what you do with that
too. You don't agree with that? No, bro, you got it. If your team won 4 Super Bowls, Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback has to be the Hall of Famer. If your quarterback wins 3 Super Bowls and like part of a dynasty too, like we talking about 3 in the 3 and what? 4, 3 and 5, what? Who was it? 3 and what? 4 years?
That's a year. They
you talking about 3 in a time span?
Yeah. You gotta put the quarterback. Come on, you gotta give the quarterback some love. That whole system don't run without the. We know how important that position is. You can't throw anybody back there. The quarterback, no matter how good a running back is, the quarterback has to make some plays in the playoff run to win the Super Bowl.
That's why
no matter who the quarterback is.
By week 3 to sign. Hurry up, please. We'll give you what we want. Just get back.
I mean, we know it's like Jared Goff couldn't make the plays in the Super Bowl. Like no quarterback has gotten away a whole Super Bowl run without making some plays along the way. Tom Brady, although he didn't do great, but he made plays in that Super Bowl to win that game, though. You always gotta get the quarterback credit because he will get killed if they never won. So I will get killed. Emmett will still get his love. You know, Michael Irvin. Everybody gonna be like, man, it was Troy Irvin's fault. That's why they gonna win. So we gotta give them love when they do win.
I appreciate that.
No problem, Tomo, man. On the good note,
Hey,
now
man,
they had Romo, they might be ringless.
Hey, no.
Romo
I ain't even gonna say.
Romo might have got two. You might have got two.
I was about to say that.
What, 2 picks? Yeah, you're right. You went through 2 picks.
Now you been
Jimmy
funny.
Johnson, he might have got two.
Romo probably would have definitely got two with Jimmy Johnson and all that talent around him. There's no excuses.
I mean, he had talent around him too, though. So
but you talking about with that coach?
Yeah, I know. You're right. It was a coach, though. You're right. All right, let's wrap this up, y'all. That was fun.